Okay, everybody, it's that time. Thank you all for joining. I'm very excited to do this training. We've been doing monthly webinars for the last 6 or 7 months, and we have all of those live recorded on our website on the knowledge base. So I'll add that link to the chat here in just a couple of minutes. But today we wanted to go back to the basics. We wanted to do an overview of the beginner for analyst users and a refresher if you need it. And so I'm very excited to have Laura Beth Landis join us for that today. I'll introduce her in just a minute, but just as a couple of reminders, we will be sending out a recording of this webinar for you. So don't worry if there was staff that you wanted to make it and they couldn't, we can send that recording out to you and you can forward that to them. There will also be time at the end for questions, but if you do have questions while Laura Beth is showing you the features, please feel free to put them into the chat feature and then we will ask those at the end. If you do have questions, we're happy to answer those. And if you have follow-up questions after the webinar, we'll get you in touch with your account manager to help out with that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Laura Beth and let her share her screen. Laura Beth is one of our newest to our team. She's an account manager here on the higher ed team, and she has been working at MZ for around a month now, Laura Beth? Yeah, so it was very wonderful of her to volunteer to do this training. So I'm very excited for her to show you all the things that she's been learning, but also that all of us are learning here all the time at MZ. I've worked here for 5.5 years and I still learn new things. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. And like I said, we're recording. So if you have any questions afterwards or want to have the recording, just let us know. Take it away, Laura Beth.
All right. First of all, can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Okay. off to a good start then. Okay. And then secondly, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
There.
Okay, so the first thing with Analyst is how to actually get into it. I put a.economicmodeling.com into the search bar. It brought me here into the sign in. I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. All right. And that should be signing into my page. Great. Okay, so the plan here is I'm just going to do an overview of our home page right here as it loads. Then we're going to jump into a few of the specifics of our report. So we're going to go into occupations, and then in here we're going to look at the occupation table and then the occupation overview, and then jump from occupation overview to a brief program overview and see how those connect. Something with our data is that all of these different, I would guess, reports connect to each other. And that's going to be one of my goals, is to show just a little bit of how that works. Okay, so the first thing I just wanted to point out is if you have any questions, come across problems, etc., the first thing I would direct you to is please go to our support tab. Your account manager should be at the bottom and should have a phone number as well as an email. And so, yeah, if you have any questions and you wanted to directly talk to your account manager, that is where
Hi all, it appears we may have lost Laura Beth for a second, so we'll give her a second just to get back on. I have messaged her to see if we can do that. We're in different locations today, so we'll give it just a minute. If Laura Beth continues to have some issues here, we'll try and figure that out. So, oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. And
okay, just to warn you, my computer is working really hard. So if this keeps happening, Elise, I may actually turn it over to you.
okay.
But I'll let you make that judgment call. But you can still see my screen now.
Yeah, I can see your screen and hear you just fine. So
okay.
Happens again, I'll just take over.
All right. Well then, I don't want to repeat myself, but did you guys hear me go through support for contacting account manager? Okay, so I'm just giving an overview of how to work the home page. Feel free to go to support if you need to contact your account manager. Normally there will be a phone number there and also an email. The next helpful tool will be a knowledge base. It's basically MZ's library where we have all of our how-to guides, definitions, helpful posts about specific reports, etc. And then we have our chat bot. And so again, if you have any questions, feel free to just message any member of the CS team and they'll get back to you in about 5 minutes or under. And then we have our saved reports. So this area, if you have any questions, or not questions, but if you have any questions like, how do I find my report that I've made, spent a lot of time, well, this is where you'll find it. You can go into the search bar. It will have who created it. So it'll give the name, when it was last modified, what type of report it was, and then the specific name of the report. Once again, all of that is archived right up here, which I find helpful. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, once we have that overview of where you can find help, basically, is looking at all of our data sets. So each of these data sets runs different reports. So we have occupations. I'm going to go ahead and just begin with this. Something to keep in mind with most of these sets is they're all set up very similar. So we'll have an overview page, a table page, and then a location page. There will be more specific tables, but we're going to just focus on these three because they're the most commonly used. And so what the occupations tab is looking at, this area is the employees. So we're looking specifically at the jobs, the earnings, the programs that you should be taking to prepare for specific occupations, to get a specific job, etc. The next one we have is programs. So this is more helpful for students, I think, in that it shows you what programs are out there and then what those programs map to for occupations. And again, this just gives the general overview of the competitive landscape, what job postings are out there once you've taken the program and now you're looking for work, the targeted occupations, etc. And then next we have the job postings. So hopefully as you're seeing this, as I'm walking through, you're seeing how they connect. So with job postings, say you've taken the program, now you're looking for work. Well, this will give you more specific details regarding what employers are wanting. So something that's helpful in this area is skills, job titles, what regions are most helpful in finding this job, etc. And then we move on to industries. Again, just an overview of jobs in industry, the growth of that industry and the earnings. And then we have our regions. So regions focuses a lot on the demographic data. However, it does also look at the economy overview in a particular area. And then the last three, so next we have input output. This is for more of a specific scenario. So for instance, a business enters your region, well, we're going to look at the ripple effects of the economic change that that business will bring. Elise actually had a really great example of a small town in Iowa that had a really big construction company enter their area. And what the businesses in the area didn't see coming was that a lot of these workers are going to need boots. And so retail companies and merchandise comes in to help solve that problem. It can also look at the other way too. If a business leaves your area, how's that going to affect everyone else? And then finally, we have the profile analytics and data download. Again, these are a lot more specific reports, so you should definitely talk to your account manager if you're interested in that. And I'm just going to stop with those. So we'll go ahead and go back to our home page. And if we remember the plan correctly, we're looking at occupations first. And with what I'm going to do with occupations is going to select a region. And then after that, I'm going to see, what's going to be one of the top growing occupations or top projected growth in the area. I'm going to click on that, look at the specific details, and then see what programs I can take to prepare for that occupation that's projected to grow. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to begin with is the occupation table. All right. I'm going to clear the search bar. This is where you are going to put in the region that you're interested in. You can filter that a few different ways. My favorite one is honestly radius from address, and I'll show you why if my computer loads. Connection is a little sketchy. I'm just going to reload this page, but basically radius from address gives you a map of the US. If it loads, it may not. It'll give a map of the US and it will show all of the surrounding counties captured in this radius. And the filter we have is 60 miles. Oh, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and just put in Indianapolis, Indiana. There we are. So yeah, all of the captured, it's capturing all the surrounding counties. If I want to add one or take one away, I just click on the county. That can be a really helpful feature depending on what counties you need in your data. You can also search by zip or census tracts. I've just chosen county for this demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and select that. All right, and then one final step before we go to the table is customizing our data selection. So on the left side, you have all of these different options to tweak or get more specific in what you want your outcome to be. I went ahead and picked jobs for a start year and then jobs for the end year because I want to look at a projection in a certain time period. And then I put in job change, percent of job change, and then the typical entry-level education. This one's specifically to help students or people that are entering a field and they want to know what are the general education qualifications. All right, I'm going to select that, run it, and it'll bring me to the occupation table. Oh, great, here we go. So this is just an exhaustive list of all the occupations found in these 28 counties. Now, the time frame that I picked for projected job occupation growth with jobs is 2021 to 2027. We can go as far up to 2031. And yeah, you can just select that time period there. So far, it's not really in order of the top growing companies. So what I'm going to do is click on this highlighted column, and it should resort the information by top projected growth. All right, here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and pick real estate sales agents. Going to that bar, we are going to jump to occupation overview. And then this is going to take us to the specific report regarding this occupation in the 28 counties. All right, so we begin with our executive summary. And how I like to look at this is it's a benchmark of how this region is doing with job posting demand compared to the national average. So as this report is telling us, there's an aggressive job posting demand over a thin supply of regional jobs. Specifically for this occupation. So it's a little bit under the national average for job counts. Compensation is just about national average, but job posting demand is over national average. So that's why it's a spread thin. It's not as much employment, but employers are really looking for this. Next thing we're going to do is jump down to this helpful chart. It's just showing the historic and projected job counts or growth in the area. I find this helpful because, again, you can benchmark how these counties are doing compared to the national average. You can also see how it's doing compared to the state overall. So if we are reading this correctly, the state of Indiana is doing better than these selected counties, which is interesting. You can also compare multiple regions to this. And this is where this little chat or search bar is helpful. And then we have our regional breakdown. And this is just showing you where most of the jobs are found. Makes sense, Marion County, that's where Indianapolis is. So that would be the most densely populated. But it's a really helpful heat map for looking at that breakdown. We can also look at this occupation broken down by industry. Again, really helpful in showing you that there are quite a few different options. It's not just one occupation in one industry, but we're looking at how many industries fit into this occupation. It's a reverse or inverse, I should say, staffing pattern. And then our compensation, this is helpful for seeing what will the beginners make in this particular field. So 10th percentile is going to be making about 13,000. And again, we have it compared to the national average. 25th percentile is going to make a little more if it loads. And then we have just the median earners, how much they'll make, and then the higher earners. Again, this is just helpful comparing this region with nation at large. Job posting activity. So the employers that are posting in this occupation, we have 923 unique job postings. So what MZ has done is deduplicated down to these 923 unique job postings, because sometimes companies can post the same job posting on multiple different platforms, and we've just shrunk that down. So there are a lot of employers competing in this field, and the postings are up for about 30 days, a little over average, but not too long. And then this chart, it actually is really helpful, and it shows you the activity that employers are online. So some occupations will not be advertising online. It'll be a lot more word of mouth, other areas. But with real estate agents, they're definitely utilizing the internet and really getting themselves out there, posting on a lot of different websites. So the light blue is showing the postings versus the dark blue is the actual hires. So the top companies in Indianapolis and the surrounding counties would be Carpenter Realtors that are posting, Carpenter Company, Independent Insurance, the list goes down. And then the top job titles don't necessarily correlate to the top companies posting. So for instance, Marcus and Millichap could be posting mostly for real estate agents. So just bear in mind not to do a one-to-one correspondence there. Job titles is also helpful for students, because not just students who are interested in going to this occupation, but really anyone, because it's showing all of the various sectors that you can enter into this particular occupation. So you don't have to just study to be a real estate agent. Even if you want to go into this field, you can be at your service agents, a licensed real estate agent professional. You know, all of these different titles really should broaden the field for what you want to do. And then we're going on to our hard skills and common skills. So this is what basically a supply and demand is how I like to look at this. So employers are wanting these skills, and we're finding these skills in actual postings. And so the employers are the demand, and then the postings are the supply. And like, how closely do those match up? Well, clearly there's not enough supply for this selling techniques. And so that's a helpful area, especially for students, if they look at it and think, oh, maybe I should beef up my skills and this, and my selling techniques, and maybe take some special courses, etc. So this is for hard skills. The same is for common skills. And then next we have our demographics. So this is, again, just an overview compared to the national average. We have those retiring soon, the racial diversity, and the gender diversity. And down here we have more of a breakdown with actual numbers regarding that. So with age, we were seeing that a lot are retiring soon, and we can just look at the pipeline of how many people are entering this field, how many people are leaving. Same with race, ethnicity, gender, and then educational attainment. This is helpful to see what the majority of people who are entering this field, what they have for educational qualifications. And then we have our occupational programs. So the programs that can help you prepare to enter into this occupation. So it looks like we've had 6 programs have produced completions in the last 5 years. In 2019, there were about 7,000 programs offered, and in 2019, there were about 4,000 job openings or openings in the market. So there's a pretty big surplus there. That's also helpful too in realizing, there's a lot more completions than openings, and maybe looking more into that. And then these are the top programs that are offered. So by far and away, the liberal arts and sciences, which at first is kind of surprising to me because it is very broad, but that is clearly the one that's produced the most completions, and that people have been getting, that's the degree they've had in going into this field. And then the top schools that are offering those programs. So the last thing I'm going to do really quickly is jump or click on this top program. And I'm not going to go into depth on this page, but I just wanted to quickly note it's very similar to the occupation overview, and then it just gives, again, very in-depth information into this particular program, liberal arts and sciences of the general studies and humanities. So the first half of this report is going to look at program details, and then the second half of the report is going to focus more on the occupations, the job postings that, again, are catering towards those who have taken this program, or what this program is hoping to prepare people or students for. All right, so I'm going to go back to the home page. Oh, and something I actually forgot to mention, and I think this is really important, is let me just go to the occupation overview page, run the report. When you're making these reports, these 3 little dots, you can save your images. So you can download them, and this is very helpful for creating your reports, is just capturing these images and then putting them in your own special report. I also just really like the MZ graphics. I think it can really help when you're presenting, just having those images there. As you can tell, I'm very visual. All right, and so I'm going to go back to the home page, just give a quick recap of what I walked through. I gave an overview of all of these different data sets, and then we jumped into occupations, ran the table to see, okay, in this particular area or region, what are the top growing occupations? And then I just picked one of those. We looked more into detail about all the different data surrounding that occupation, and then going into programs and seeing, okay, what courses can I take to prepare for this occupation? All right, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. That's just a very broad view and just a quick snapshot of how you can jump from report to report and how it connects. I think I'm done on my end. And I'm going to hand it over to Elise.
Great. Thank you, Laura Beth. I'm glad you did a quick overview of what you did, because with all the technical things that were happening, I couldn't remember if you did the table for us. And so that's a really helpful place to be able to have to show people. So we did have a quick question from Mark Champion that said, aren't the programs misleading because not every competitor in LA, for example, is going into real estate? Throws off actual numbers. Can you edit this? So I believe what Mark is talking about is the programs that are being mapped to each occupation. We can't edit those there, but if you do start from a program overview and link those over to occupations, you can start doing some editing of the occupation to program over, like the occupation to program mapping that will help you basically set what it should look like. So give me a second here and I'll show you what that looks like within this page here. So I'm going to go over to Analyst. So I believe what Mark is asking, so if we were to go back in and kind of mimic the search that Laura Beth did, and go into occupations, go to an overview over here, and I'm not going to be able to pick up Laura Beth's exact region that she did. So I'm going to do, I think we're looking at real estate agents here and click run. With the overview, we do our best to do an occupation to overview mapping, an occupation to program mapping. So all the way at the very bottom of this report, we had a list of the different programs that are available. With real estate agents, this may be a little bit more general. We see a lot of liberal arts on here, some general studies that people typically go into programs. So if we jumped over to one of these programs, we could take a look at that a little bit closer. But if we were to start like at a real estate program, we can go in and edit the occupations that tie over to this program. One thing I would recommend doing if you want to work with the different mappings on here is Analyst has a great feature up in groups that you can go in and do a program to occupation mapping. And this will do a mapping from each of those programs over to occupations to allow you to set that and edit that in for you. So this does give a good start there. I will be honest, I'm unsure if this changes what the occupations map to, but this will help set a little bit firmer look at what's going on in your region based off of what you're looking at, which of these need to align. We do have a customized MZ mapping in this set here, so that will be helpful on that front. All right, Laura Beth, anything you want to add to that? May have lost Laura Beth. Looks like her sound is off. All right, so I'm gonna go and check and see if there's any other questions that we may have had. It looks like that's the only one. I want to point back at y'all real fast. On the homepage of MZ, Laura Beth pointed this out at the beginning, but we are here all about support and wanting to make sure that you have all the information that you need. So a couple of things just to reiterate. On the homepage, you have your saved reports, which you can use if you go in and you make a report like Laura Beth did with your occupation table and you want to rerun that with every new quarter of data. You can totally save that on the homepage and then be able to re-access that. That gives you the ability to keep those reports you're running if you're running top regions, or maybe you're keeping an eye on a program and want to see how that's being affected in your economy every quarter. You can do that. And these are shareable with people on your team. Same with these bookmarks below. Over here on the left-hand side, there are over 50 different reports. So these bookmarks really help offer some additional information for you. Two other pieces that I wanted to make sure to repoint out is your support. This will offer you information on your account manager, the knowledge base, and any blogs or feedback that we might have for you, go here. The reason I point this out is your account manager is a dedicated resource to you guys and to all of the projects that you're doing. So you can always reach out and by their cell phone or their email address to be able to reach them anytime. The final piece is we do update our data every quarter. I think this is really important to make sure that understanding the extra effort we put in to make sure that you're getting all the important information. We'll show that to you in the release notes over here in the right-hand corner. We also have a couple of data sets available for you if you're doing long-term projects. So if you're ever curious about what data set we're on or any of that information, we can give you that here. So it looks like we did have a couple more questions come up while we were doing that overview. And Michael, it looks like you asked, can you show where to find that again? Can you send me another chat what you're referencing? I'm not sure where to find which piece again, and we can go over that. How do you delete a saved report from the home page? So you can go into, let me get back there here real fast. I have a lot of open windows. So you can go over here to edit and delete that. So that will only delete the ones that you made. So right now I have this saved by all my reports. So if you go into shared reports, you won't be allowed to delete ones that are saved by other folks at your institution. And so you can go into edit here and that will update those reports for you. Kim Smith, you're not seeing profile analytics on your left-hand column. Profile analytics is part of our added database set. So if you would like to see more about that, I can get you in touch with your account manager. That is a set that is based off of online professional sites that employees go and save. So think their resumes that they save online or professional sites that show their skills, their previous work experiences. And so that is an extra set of data that we can set up for you or get you a trial of so that you can see how that interacts. When Laura Beth was showing the skills section and it had the dark blue and the light blue bar graphs, that is actually showing a comparison of job postings versus profile analytics, so you can see what's going on in your region with that supply and demand. What are the codes? Let me move this up. What are the codes in the columns for top programs offers? Are these NAICS, SIP, or NOC codes? That is a great question. So I'm going to go quickly through each of these setups so you can understand what codes we're working with. So under occupations, we work off of standard occupation codes or SOC codes. Under the programs, we do work with SIP codes, so certified instructional program codes, and this data set predominantly comes from iPads. And then industries work off of NAICS codes, so North American Industrial Classification Systems, so that we're able to work with kind of tying all these codes together. Now, job postings and regions don't actually have a set of codes they work with. Job postings work just off of job postings, and so we go in and actually use those off of job titles. You can search job postings by SOC code, by NAICS code, and job titles, so you're able to do that very thorough search that you're wanting to do. And then regions is just based off of the region you choose to look at. Hello, Assam. It's great to have you here in the training, and we love working with you as well. So a quick call out there from Assam over in Kansas. And then, oh, okay, Michael, you wanted to see the SOC crosswalk for sure. So there's a couple of places that you're going to see the SOC to SIP crosswalk within Analyst, and that's going to be up here. The first one is up in groups. So if you go access groups, this is where you're going to save all of your groups. If you have any industry groups or regional groups you set up, you can access here. And then your program to occupation mapping is here at the bottom. Just click on that and that will pull up your whole occupation and program mapping, which you can edit. We realize that each region's a little different, so it's helpful to see that on there. And then Ash, yes, you're saying NOC is for Canada. You are correct. NOC is for Canada, and right now we are viewing the US data set. So that's why we don't see those Canadian codes in there for you. All right. I think that covered all those quick questions that just came in. If there are any other follow-up questions that you guys have, please feel free to reach out. We did have another one come in. Thank you for the answer on codes. Is that the same data in Canada? We do have separate data in Canada, so some of the US data sets are going to be different than the Canadian data sets, but we do follow the NOC codes for Canada, and then we have some job postings, and they just differ slightly by report types or regional levels, those kinds of things. So Kathleen, once again, I would recommend the same thing I did to Kim. I think we can get you in touch with your account manager and they can help answer any additional questions you might have after this training. But if you do have more while I'm on here, I'm happy to help out and answer a little bit more. I do predominantly work with US data, but we can definitely answer those questions about the Canadian data as well. All right. Well, that's about what we had to show you guys today. Just a quick overview of what you can see within Analyst, where to find things, some of the different reports we have. We do these trainings every month. We appreciate any feedback you have, or if there's anything you want to see in Analyst, feel free to shoot it over our way. There will be a little poll after this when you log off. If you do want to talk to an account manager, please let us know and we'll put you in contact as well. Aside from that, though, thank you for showing up today. We will put this online. I'm going to stay on for the next 20 or so minutes. So if you guys do have questions, please feel free to shoot those over and we'll keep on going with these questions. So we had another question coming from Gavin. How do you take out certain occupations from a bundled occupation category and only focus on one of them in the searches? For example, I only want to focus on library out of the category 0511 library, archive, museum, and art gallery managers. Gavin, are you talking about looking at a specific occupation, or are we working with the mapping right now? If you're wanting to look at a specific occupation, you can actually just go in and search in your occupation reports and search a specific occupation. You don't actually need to put in a list of them. You can pull in those occupations. If you're wanting to see how this is focused from a program, and you're searching a program and you only want one occupation, you can go in and be able to search your program overview and then edit that. So in this case, Gavin, if you're wanting just one specific occupation, I'd recommend you go over to your occupation overview, which is underneath your occupation data set, and click into this, and you can search any of these. The great part about Analyst is that it works off of keyword search. So you can go in and just type in what you're looking for. So if you were looking for 0511, I think is what you said you were looking for. You said library. Wow, if I can talk today, you guys. We can just type that in and it will pull it in. If we are looking for a specific program, you can go over and do a program side search as well. But this will pull up any of the different pieces that we're taking a look at, be able to add that specific occupation in, select the region you're wanting to view, and run it. One quick note on regions is the regions do work down to zip, and now my brain is like blanking here. Census tract data. So you can actually be able to look pretty specifically if you have access to that data, and we go all the way up to national. So there's a different level on that. So I would recommend using your occupation overview. From there, you can actually search to different pieces. All right, so next question, how do bookmarks work? Ooh, great question. Thank you, Mark. So if you go in, your bookmarks will show up on your home page here. But if you go over to occupations, you can select any report and just hover over the top. There will be a little plus mark here. Click that add bookmark and go back to the home page, and that's added to your home page here. If you want to, you can always deselect that, remove that from your home page by just hovering over and click remove. So pretty easy to use those pieces and pretty helpful. So another question from Jessica, how does MZ have a way to look at alumni data, what professional graduates from our institution from a specific zip code went into? We do. Limited ability to look at those, but we can do that. What I would recommend is we get you in touch with your account manager and we take a deeper look at our alumni outcomes model. So that is a consulting project that we do for your institution, where we take a list of our full listing of profile analytics for your institution, and then we match that up with your list of graduates and students from your institution to see how those compare. It's a full study, and it really is helpful to be able to compare those to your grouping of students and with our list, so that we can see people who maybe didn't put you guys as an institution on their online profile, but we're able to match those up and find that match in the end. So we can help out with that graduate study, that alumni information, but I think it's more helpful to be able to do that outcome study, as it does a lot deeper search. As for the software, we do have Profile Analytics, which is an extra additional piece that you can add on to your subscription. And we can definitely get you a trial of that to see if that would work for the needs that you're looking for. But a lot of times these do miss some people that may not have put the right thing into their profile online, or doesn't give you the correct information, but that study can do a lot of that. So I think this, Jessica, would be a conversation to see which feature would fit your needs the best. So we had a question from Margaret that said, in the real estate occupation report that you generated, it seems that the region has an oversupply of real estate agents. How can you only show the number of completions from institutions that offer real estate programs? I would recommend, if we're going to do more of a search from the program perspective, that we use our programs reports here. Because what this will help us do is see what's happening from a program perspective. So rather than looking at the occupations for real estate agents, we go in and take a look at the program and see how many completions there are. So from the very beginning of a program overview, you can put in, once again, we'll put in real estate. And I'm just going to pick a generic program here for real estate, because there were quite a few that came up. This will show you at the very beginning for Washington, what are the completions for this exact zip code, and what is the college's completion, what is the institution offering this. If you expand that out, it will show what level of award was offered. And then we also can do regional trends, any distance or non-distance offered programs, and then regional completions by award. This report will also tie all of this program information over. So any similar programs that we should be looking at added into this program, this zip code section here. And then it will also send it over to target occupations that we're mapping to. So this report really starts from the program side and helps kind of expand that in and be able to see a little bit more detail on that perspective. Now, when you're looking at the occupation overview, this will pull in any programs that tend to map to that. But given what we saw from the occupation overview, that it maps to some pretty general programs like liberal arts, those types of things, I'd recommend starting at this side so you can see from that zip code that you're looking at, and then be able to compare what are similar programs that you should be adding into this that we're seeing real estate workers working in. On the other side of that, this report is based off of iPads. So when you're taking a look at this, we're looking at completions from iPads. So every institution is putting in a different program zip code. So that's one of the reasons we use this zip code down here, so you can help kind of see what other institutions might be putting in for this occupation. I hope that helped answer that, Margaret. And then Kathleen, is the Alumni Consulting Project available for institutions in Canada? This I'm not sure on. Let me ask really quickly, and then I'll get back to you on that. So any other questions today, folks? Once again, thank you everybody for joining today. I know that it's nice to have a refresher of Analyst, but also, like I said, there are new pieces of this that I find out that I wasn't aware of every time I use it. And so it is a massive tool. And if you guys do have questions about it or want to know more or would like to do a customized training with your account manager, they are there to help you 100%. Each of your subscriptions have unlimited trainings, unlimited demos, and you can reach out to your account manager anytime. I know I'm always on the phone with my folks helping them out, and so there is never too big or too small of a question. We always want to help you out and be able to get you that information. And yes, at the end of this, we will have a little poll that you can take that asks if you want to be put in touch with your account manager, and then we will put you in touch with your account manager from there. And then Jessica, yes, I think talking to your account manager to see if we could either set up a quick demo to show you the difference between profile analytics and the difference between the alumni outcomes model would be great. That way you can see what would fit better for you. And if you just mark that on the poll, I'll make sure to send over who your account manager is so you can have that information. All right, let me look and see if I got an answer back on my question about the alumni outcomes in Canada. Not getting anything yet. Let me ask one more person. The reason why I'm not answering this for sure is because some of the data that we offer in Canada versus data available in the US, the regulations are different on that data. And so we may be able to offer it in the US, but maybe not in Canada, and vice versa. So I want to make sure that I get the correct answer before I tell you. And it looks like Gabby is typing back. She is our Canadian expert. Love her. She's always available and very happy to answer any questions that come up. All right, so it looks like the answer is no, we don't have alumni data available in our Canada data set. And so that would prevent us from doing that consultation work with the alumni outcomes. That being said, I know that the rest of the tool can offer some insight into what types of workers and programs are tied over. So that's where I would start, but I can always put you in touch with your account manager as well to see what other options we have or how MZ is looking to kind of work on this in the future. So it looks like our questions have kind of stopped. So thank you everybody for joining today. I really appreciate it. Look for an invite in our newsletter and from your account manager for next month's training. We're not sure on what the topic is going to be yet. So if there are any topics you would like to have covered, shoot them over to your account manager or shoot them over to MZ's informational question site. We're always happy to do those trainings that would be helpful for you and most accommodating at this time. So thank you so much. We look forward to having you at the next training. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please reach out. Have a great day. Yeah, Kathleen, I'm sorry we didn't ever get that answered for you on the last webinar. I think one of the complications between the Canada and the US data is just the differences in what we have access to. So I'm glad you asked it this time. And please feel free to reach out with any other questions you might have. We'll make sure to get those answered for you.